The year was 1954, less than a decade after Little Boy and Fat Man had decimated Japan.
The nuclear age had begun.
As the United States tested their shiny new hydrogen bombs across the Pacific, one of them woke something up.
Godzilla, the radioactive, rampaging savior/destroyer of Japan.
Mutated by nuclear energy, Godzilla stands over 300 feet tall and weighs 90,000 tons. He is an unstoppable force of nature.
And for some reason, Godzilla has made Japan his personal playground and has been stomping through it for 60 years.
Couldn't he have picked on some other country?
Godzilla's radioactive mutation leaves everything in his wake contaminated. Water, plants, even people. Godzilla's presence alone turns a city block completely uninhabitable.
Like that noisy upstairs neighbor, or people who let their dog shit in your front lawn.
But Godzilla does not simply walk past his enemies to destroy them.
His strength is insane. He once lifted and threw his arch-rival Kaiser Ghidorah, who weighs 100,000 frickin' tons.
He channels this strength through his claws, teeth, tail,
and epic gravity-defying drop kicks.
Hilarious abilities aside, Godzilla would not be such a legendary kaiju without some serious firepower. He can emit atomic energy from his body for a short-range nuclear pulse.
Or fire his signature atomic breath, a goddamn laser beam of pure radiation. That's like microwaving at least 100 balls of tinfoil.
Well, give or take a few million.
The atomic breath can melt, burn, or blow up just about anything, and you know it just can't smell good. I mean, that's a lot of fish.
No. That right there is Zilla, the bastardized and shamed American version that Toho literally bought the rights to and completely rebranded just to murder on screen.
Take that, America.
And that was just the real Godzilla's standard atomic breath.
Yep, after absorbing a giant pterodactyl's soul, okay, he gained the power to boost his breath to the red spiral ray.
An attack so deadly, it only took a few blasts to obliterate the more powerful clone of himself, Space Godzilla.
What? Space Godzilla?
Yes, Space Godzilla's a thing. Moving on.
Uh-oh.
Godzilla's cell structure can quickly regenerate from all manner of wounds. And despite being vulnerable to man-made electricity, he possesses magnetic properties. Like a lightning rod, he can attract thunderbolts from the sky and use nature's power to enhance his own abilities. Or turn himself into a giant living magnet.
Magnets? How do they even work? Well, believe it or not, that isn't the weirdest thing that Godzilla can do. If Big G needs to get somewhere quick, he bends over, charges up, and does this.
Well, at least Japan is creative?
Wait, can that even happen?
Scaling to the present, to actually lift his body means the atomic breath must have a force of over 328 trillion psi. That's the equivalent of 1 trillion riot control fire hoses, enough to wrap around the Earth 38,000 times.
Damn. Godzilla has 44 known victories, largely due to his insane durability. He's fallen into a volcano, survived a black hole, and tanked a meteorite point blank without a scratch.
But despite popular belief, Godzilla is not invincible. His regeneration takes time, his speed is lacking, and despite having 2 brains, one in his skull and the other where his tail meets his torso, he's pretty darn clumsy.
Where were you on that one, ass brain?
He officially lost a fight against King Kong, and he's even died in 4 separate films.
But Godzilla's victories definitely outweigh his failures. There's a good reason they call him the King of the Monsters.
Since the dawn of time, good has battled the forces of evil. The vicious witch Rita Repulsa and her giant monsters waged war with the good-natured galactic sage Zordon.
Their 2,000-year war finally ended when Rita zapped him into a time warp. but not before Zordon managed to lock her up in a space dumpster?
Yes, apparently that thing is a space dumpster, or to put more accurately, a galactic recycling bin. However, Zordon knew it was only a matter of time before Rita escaped to conquer Earth once more.
Good thing Zordon had thousands of years to come up with a foolproof plan. He could summon the 5 greatest warriors from around the galaxy to defend the planet. Or...
Teleport to us 5 overbearing and over-emotional humans.
No, not that, not teenagers.
That plan is asinine, but somehow it worked. Zordon granted 5 teenagers the ability to draw power from a dimension called the Morphin Grid. This molecular transmutation turns them into superhumans with access to mighty mechanical beasts called Zords, becoming the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Mastodon!
Pterodactyl!
Triceratops!
Saber-tooth tiger!
Tyrannosaurus!
Power Rangers!
Go, go, Power Rangers! First, there's Jason Lee Scott, the Red Ranger. He's a fearless leader, expert martial artist, and owns one of the coolest Zords of the bunch, the Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Billy Cranston, the Blue Ranger, is the genius of the group. He loves to work with machines, especially his impressive Triceratops Zord. With its grappling hook horns, this 140-ton behemoth can stop a foe in its tracks.
Trini Kwan, the Yellow Ranger, is equal parts brains and martial arts specialist. She's a threat both outside and inside her speedy saber-toothed tiger Zord.
Kimberly Ann Hart, the Pink Ranger, is a smack-talking valley girl who has the skies covered in her pterodactyl Zord, which can fly at 2.5 times the speed of sound.
Last but not least, there's Zach Taylor, the Black Ranger, who's mastered his own fighting style called hip-hop keto. Yep, this guy fights aliens with the power of dance, along with his Mastodon Zord. Although slow, this Zord can freeze blast enemies with ice, or saran wrap if you're short on budget.
But when 5 giant mechanical beasts aren't enough to keep the villains down, these machines join together to...
We're just the coolest friggin' thing you've ever seen in your life!
Power Rangers! Bring them together!
This is the Megazord, a 333-foot colossus with enough power to effortlessly tear down buildings, sometimes unintentionally. All 5 Rangers pilot the Megazord as one, combining their own martial arts skills to defeat giant monsters.
It's like a giant rock'em sock'em robot with laser beams. It can fry enemies with its cranial laser, blast fireballs from its hands, shoot immobilizing beams from its eyes, and even use the Mastodon's face as a shield. And when it's time to send someone to an early grave, they summon their Blade Ex Machina, the Power Sword.
Little known fact, simply touching the Power Sword can recharge the Megazord if it's low on power.
It's not just a battery. This giant sword is over 100 feet long and orbits the Earth when not in use. Plus, it can launch energy waves and cut down almost any monster with just one swing.
And there's even more. It's a surprisingly versatile weapon, like with this feature they implemented against the Nasty Knights.
Any energy we throw at him, he just reflects back at us. That's why our weapons aren't burned out.
So what do we do about it?
Reflect his energy back at him, along with a bit of our own.
I don't get it.
Apparently, the Power Sword can absorb oncoming kinetic energy and turn it against the attacker, drastically increasing the Megazord's striking power.
Well, after pummeling monsters every weekday afternoon, the Power Rangers have been through almost everything. From fighting a world-destroying dragon to a giant walking pumpkin who raps.
Ooh, you Rangers make me mad! Waking me up with a rap that bad!
They've even fought Kimberly's purse.
Man, these villains were getting desperate. And so were the writers.
Anyway, the Megazord is strong enough to lift and throw the 170-ton Dragon Zord into a mountain with little effort.
So long, Gay Bowser!
Even the individual Zords can support the weight of whole monsters on their own. While many of these monsters should weigh similar to the Megazord, some certainly weigh even more. In fact, in a general scale, when you double the size of an object, its weight increases by a factor of 8. Comparing these organic monsters to human beings means some of them could weigh as much as 10,000 tons.
And the Megazord even gut-punched one of them over 100 feet into the air.
Assuming that monster is 10,000 tons, lifting it 133 feet would require about 90 million newtons of force. 50 times as much force as a space shuttle's launching thrust.
With that kind of strength, I bet you could backhand a person into outer space.
That's oddly specific.
Strange, wasn't it? Regardless, they've used that strength to take down countless monsters capable of wiping out all life on Earth. They even went toe-to-toe with Cyclopsis, a Warzord designed to conquer entire worlds.
But even for the Power Rangers, defending the Earth is no small job. When they least expect it, the Megazord's energy supply can be quickly exhausted in the middle of combat.
And it doesn't help that half the reason is because they just get hit so damn much. Despite the Megazord's awesome power, it's really lacking in the whole maneuverability department. I mean, come on! It can at least try to avoid an attack.
But when the enemy hits hard, the Power Rangers hit back even harder. With the fate of the world lying in their hands, no one can ever take them down.
Bring him down!
Limit break!